The government of Andhra Pradesh set out to build a world-class capital city entirely from scratch. To realize that vision, the state needed to secure over 33,000 acres of prime, fertile agricultural land. This master plan shows the sheer complexity of the urban grid required. It is a dense network of arterial roads and intersections designed to replace thousands of existing farm plots. Traditionally, the government secures private property through land acquisition, a process governed in India by the 2013 LAR Act. Under this model, the state identifies land, calculates a one-time monetary payout, and takes permanent ownership. The landowner receives cash but loses their property rights forever. This acquisition system is built for infrastructure like highways or railways, where the state needs a continuous, linear strip of land for a single purpose. Applying that same buyout model to a 33,000-acre city would likely bankrupt the state with upfront costs and cause a massive social crisis by permanently displacing thousands of farming families. Facing those constraints, the state introduced land pooling, a voluntary development model rather than a forced sale. In this arrangement, landowners voluntarily contribute their raw acreage to a central development authority. To see how the math works, imagine a village with 100 acres of agricultural land. The government allocates 35 acres for roads. 10 acres are set aside for parks and 10 for schools. 15 acres are taken for government offices. The remaining 30 acres are fully developed and returned to the original owners. This mathematical model turns farmers into equity stakeholders in the city's permanent footprint. At first glance, the trade-off seems lopsided. Why would a farmer give up 100 acres only to receive 30 back? The strategy relies on the urban infrastructure multiplier. By adding drainage, electricity, and modern zoning, the government changes the value profile of the land. A smaller, fully developed commercial plot within a capital city is expected to command a much higher price per square yard than a large, remote agricultural field. During the construction years, the government pays farmers an annual annuity to bridge the gap between their lost harvests and their future developed property. This concrete road cutting through the valley is the first physical sign of that promised infrastructure taking shape. Land pooling essentially trades current acreage for future value density. Despite the logic of the math, the entire model requires immense trust from the local community. Farmers are staking their entire livelihoods on the government's ability to execute the plan. If the state fails to complete the development quickly, the farmers are left with significantly less land and no market for their returned plots. When construction stalls or faces significant delays, investor confidence drops, and the high value promised to these landowners can quickly evaporate. As a rule of thumb, land acquisition remains necessary for continuous infrastructure projects, while land pooling provides the engine for large-scale urban development. Amaravati remains one of the world's largest experiments in voluntary land pooling for a planned city. The final outcome of the project will ultimately depend on whether the state can move beyond the role of a buyer and successfully deliver the long-term value it promised to the people who provided the land.